All right, let's do an optimization problem with a cuboid, a box. So here's what we have. We have a square-based topless box. So that means there's no lid, right? And the box sides are constructed from a 45 square centimeter piece of material. And we have to figure out what's the greatest volume that we could get out of that much material with a topless box. All right, so let's break this down so it's something that's very doable, right? Pictures are great. So sketch a picture because it helps you really understand what's going on, right? So this is what the box will look like. And let's draw its net. Let's see, like if you were to unfold it, what would it come from? So we'd have that base right here, right? And that base would be here. And that base would be W times W. The area of that would be W squared. Now let's do the sides. The sides, well, they're all going to be W times H. And we're going to have 4 of them, do you see? These links right here, they're all H. These are all H right here. So all of these are WH, 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 WH. All right? So there's our two things. Now, from these two images, let's go ahead and write our formulas. We know the volume is going to be W squared times H. It's usually length times width times height. But in this case, we have a square base, so we could use L or W. My W's are prettier than my L's, so we're going to go with that. And then surface area. Now we know the surface area is 45. So 45 is going to be all of these things added up. So that's going to be W squared, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. Do you see? So now we have our two formulas. Do you see? We're looking for the greatest volume, so we're going to have to find the derivative of this, set it equal to 0, and solve it, and we can figure out the dimensions. But we can't do it when we have two variables, so we need to solve this one for H and substitute that in. Right? So let's solve this for H. 45 minus W squared equals 4WH. See, just subtract that from both sides, divide both sides by 4W. So 45 minus W squared divided by 4W equals H. So there, that's H right there. All right, so I'm going to take that H, I'm going to plug it in. So I've got volume Now, this part isn't difficult, but a lot of people mess up, myself included, because they kind of rush through it a little quick. Let's simplify this, make sure we get a nice, clean, easy to deal with expression so we can take its derivative without getting hung up. So I'm going to reduce, and then I'm going to distribute. Right? W goes into W squared W times, so V equals, I'm going to distribute 45W minus W cubed over 4. Yeah, W times W squared is W cubed divided by 4. So now let's take the derivative of this thing right here, right? We're going to go ahead and separate it 1/4 times, okay, 45W minus 1/4 times W cubed, like that. We're going to take that derivative right there. So the derivative is going to be 1/4. I'm going to factor out that 1/4, 45, right? The derivative of 45, and then minus 3W squared. Okay? It's really 3 over 4, and that's 45 over 4. But I'm going to factor out the 1/4 because it's going to make this next part a little cleaner. You could leave it in there. It doesn't really matter. Don't get too hung up on this fraction, because what's going to happen with it is it doesn't even matter at all. Because when you set this equal to 0, what you have is you have 0 is equal to the product of two numbers. This thing in the parentheses is just a number. It's a binomial, right? Whatever W is, you square it, multiply by 3, subtract it from 45. It's just one number times 1/4 is 0. So since 1/4 can't equal 0, this has to equal 0. Right? So we solve that. Subtract 45. Divide 15. So the square root of 15 is equal to W. Now, the square root of 15, plug that into your calculator, you're going to get that W is approximately 3.87. And you only need the plus. Square roots really have plus or minus, but you only need the plus here because we're talking about a dimension, a distance, a height. Well, actually a width. So we're going to use just the positive one. All right? So we need to figure out the height now. Since we have this already solved for h, it'd be really easy to plug this number in there and figure out what is the height. So let's do that. 45 minus, so I'm going to go ahead and do 15 instead of the approximation, because when we square it, we get an easier number, right? All right. And I also would prefer to plug that into the calculator anyway. So 45 minus the square root of 15 squared, that's 45 minus 15, that's 30 over 4 root 15 equals h. Plug that into your calculator, you get 1.94, that's approximately h. So we've got our width right here, got our height right here. There we go. Hope it's been helpful. You guys have a wonderful day.